Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today, quicker than I thought, we are returning to the world of Dragons Down, and we are going to take a look at the first expansion, and that is for Dragons Down Desolation. Now, if you remember in my initial review video for Dragons Down, I did say that I was a backer of the original game. However, I completely forgot to add the expansion. I thought I did, but Scott graciously sent this to the channel to cover. And I will most definitely be backing the expansion coming up early in 2025 when they do a reprint for Dragons Down and the Desolation expansion. And that expansion is called the Natives expansion. And that will greatly enhance your ability to interact with the various natives in the realm, like the villagers and the knights and the priests and the dwarves and so on. I think right now that's maybe kind of my main complaint about the game is that interacting with the natives is really bare bones. There's almost nothing you can do with them except for attacking them or not attacking them. But with the natives expansion, Scott is adding a whole bunch more that we can do with them. But let's take a little look at the back of the box here. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the things that you get with Dragons Down Desolation. We'll talk in detail about some of the new treasure and some of the new classes and so on. And then we'll take a little pause and I'll come back with everything mixed together. And then we'll do a little bit of brainstorming about a scenario that I am working on and how I want to put that scenario together, a solo hero scenario. So this says that Dragons Down Desolation is an expansion for the great adventure game Dragons Down. Desolation adds 2 new terrain packs, 2 new lineages to use with new and existing classes, and 12 all new classes to use with new and existing lineages. Near endless replayability. Each terrain pack consists of all new map tiles, new and additional monsters, new treasures and treasure sites, new tokens, new missions, and more. So this really is my favorite kind of expansion for a game where it just adds a whole bunch of variety without any need to really learn any new rules or add any complications. So one thing that the Desolation expansion does do is it adds 2 new player boards. So that does mean that you can now play Dragons Down with up to 6 players. Or if you wanted to do a crazy single player game where you could play as a party of 6 adventurers in the realm. I will most likely never, ever play with 6. The most I'll probably ever play this game is with 3. But I have heard of people who do play games like Magic Realm, play it with large groups, and they take simultaneous turns. And I think that would also work pretty well with Dragons Down. So if you're comfortable with playing games where you take simultaneous turns, you might want to check this out. I know some people do play games like Arkham Horror like that, and I think that works too, where every character, every player does their phase at the same time, and that's a really good way to keep playtime down and to keep downtime down in games like this, in adventure games. So because it adds 2 new player boards and the ability to play with more players, you will get more fame, more legendary chits, and more cardboard coins to facilitate more players. You will also get a full complement of colored cubes, all your action cubes, and your heart for your health. Now, one thing I failed to mention in my original review is that there was a misprint at the factory. They made a huge mistake when they put these cubes in the boxes. So Scott had approved a certain color of cube that actually matched the colors of the cubes in the rulebook and on the cards. And for some reason, he approved those in the prototype, in the test printing. But then for some reason, the manufacturer took it upon themselves to update, to change the colors of a lot of the cubes. And so it kind of messed things up. So new colored cubes, I think, will be available. I don't know if those will be provided for old backers for free. I don't know about that. But the correct colors that match the actual red. Because, you know, this is supposed to be red, and it's actually more like a salmon. Actually, this is supposed to be the red one. and it's closer to the pink than the red heart and so on. But yeah, so if this bothered you, they are working on it. I still don't know. Some of these color cubes were quite confusing for people with color blindness. I'm not sure if the new, less pastel, darker colors will be any better or not. I can't say for sure. I am hoping to get Scott on the channel to talk a little bit about the upcoming expansion and maybe do a little bit of a sample playthrough through Tabletop Simulator. I really don't like Tabletop Simulator. I find it way too complex, but Scott's really good at it, and I've heard that they have a very good module for Dragons Down that does include the new stuff from the Natives expansion. So he might do a walkthrough with us with the Dungeon Dive, and we can also talk a little bit about his design process, because I think the design process for Dragons Down is pretty interesting because it's coming from a certain perspective. It's coming from the perspective of wanting to re-implement, to remake a game. And so I'm really curious about how Scott went about and looked at the rules for Magic Realm and said, okay, this is the way I'm going to change it. Why am I changing it like this? What am I doing to improve the things? And because I know he didn't just go willy-nilly and say, well, this is too complicated, so let's make it more simple. It's a lot more complex than that, so I'm curious about the process. But in Desolation, we will get 2 new terrain types. So we will get the Perilous Plains and the Sinister Swamps. So that brings the terrain types up to 5. And then each one of those, of course, will come with its own exploration tokens and its own set of tiles. So the Sinister Swamps, we have, I believe, 3 new sites, or there's 2 new sites, actually, 2 new treasure sites. We have the Grotto and the Lost Battalion. And actually, it's just the Grotto. So let's take a look at the swamps here. So these are a little bit different. So we have the Grotto is a treasure site. So this is a site that you can find to raid for treasure. And that will be protected by the Hydra. And then we also have a hideout. And the hideout is a place where you can discover bandits. So the bandits were from the original game. And now there are 3 different areas where the bandits can be located. And so they can kind of hop around from one bandit location to the next, kind of simulating the fact that the bandits are roaming the realm up to no good. And they have different little hideouts that they can hide in. Now, the Lost Battalion is not a site, actually. It is a wilderness token. And so here, wherever you are in the swamp, so you will only ever find the Lost Battalion in the swamps. The Grotto and the Hideout, because they're sites, we can find those in other types of terrain. But the Lost Battalion will always be in a site. And this is like a group of undead warriors who died and then got swallowed up by the sinister swamps. Or maybe they are the reason why the swamps are sinister. They were corrupted warriors and they fell and they corrupted the land of the swamps. And so you will only ever find the Lost Battalion in the swamps. And then we also have the Artificer. And the Artificer is a trader. And we can interact with them when we find the outpost. So the outpost is the area, the main civilization for the natives in the swamps. And then the other wilderness tokens that we can encounter are an item, a treasure, an item, a site. So there's one of the sites, another site, and of course the gate, because each of the terrain packs has a gate associated with it. And the gates allow you to quickly move from one tile to the next. So here we have our 2 civilization tokens for the swamps. We have the Artificer and the Empty. And then we have our civilization for the swamps, and that is the Outpost. And the second group of terrain, the second terrain pack we have are the Perilous Plains. And here we only have one dedicated site, and that is the Monolith. And then we have wrecked wagons, and then 2 different people we can interact with, the smuggler and the vendor. So the wrecked wagons, because it's not a site, you will only ever encounter the wrecked wagons when you are using the Perilous Plains, or you will only ever encounter that in a Perilous Plains tile. And that is here, the wrecked wagons. And that is another place where the bandits can be. And so you might have, the bandits have taken over, or they've raided a wagon train for the supplies that somebody is trying to bring to some farmers or trying to bring into civilization. Other things that we can encounter in the plains, we have an item, we have the plains gate there. We have the mission dice where you can roll those just to get some easy fame and gold. We have another item, a treasure, and the site for the monolith. And the monolith is protected by the Omnicrux, this kind of weird creature that attacks only with spells. And then also we have two vendors. We have the smuggler and the vendor. The smuggler is interesting because if you guys remember, there is a way to haggle with the merchants in this game. And each of the merchants respects a certain social status, a certain social attribute. So for instance, the vendor, he's looking for charismatic people. So if you are playing a character who is high in charisma and you go to the vendor, you will have a better chance of haggling, of getting that price lower. The smuggler, he doesn't respect anybody. So you take whichever attribute is less on your character, and that's what you have to deal with to haggle. So haggling with the smuggler is going to be very, very difficult. Now you also get some new chips here to keep track of your new heroes and monsters. And so some of the new monsters here we have the Guardian of the Monolith, and that is the Omnicrux. The Omnicrux will attack with Fireball and with Disorient. So pretty powerful enemy there. We have centaurs that we can find. So there's our 4 centaur chips. And then we also have our dire wolves. The dire wolves is the big enemy group. And I believe those are for the plains there. Let's see, the dire wolves. Are those in the plains? Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the dire wolves are in the plains, as well as the centaurs. So this is kind of my plains box here. And in the plains, we can come across the village. And so there's our villager. We have a village leader and then a whole bunch of different villagers that we can either kill or not kill. That's basically all we can do with the natives right now. I think I forgot to show the village token for the plains. There's a village in the plains that we can discover. But with that natives expansion, there will be other things that we can do to interact with those natives. So I am looking forward to that. And then here we have all of our chips for the Sinister Swamps. And so the Sinister Swamps here, we have our council leader, our bodyguard, our warden, and our 3 different wardens. So those are the natives of the swamps there. We have our Hydra, which is the guardian of the Grotto. And then here we have our group of the Lost Battalion. So the Lost Battalion has 1, 2, 3, 4 different enemies associated with it, and they're all undead. So once again, the undead are very powerful, and so playing as a cleric in this game actually has a lot of benefit because they can be protected from the undead. You also get a few more adult dragons because adult dragons will come out in higher numbers now. And then we also have some giant serpents, of course, in the swamp. So there's our giant serpent tokens. And then finally, we have the lizardmen. And the lizardmen here, we have a shaman, and the shaman can summon an elemental to do its bidding. And then here we have all of our lizard folk that we can encounter in the swamps. So those are our basic tokens, our basic terrain packs. And then we have a whole bunch of new cards here for our characters. And this is where I think the game gets really interesting because there are actually, let's back up real quick and just take a real quick look at our tiles that we get with the new terrain packs. So here we have our swamps there, and there's where we can find our outpost. So that is the civilization. We have the foul swamp, the moorland, the quiet bog, the putrid waters, and the decayed swamp. And then here we have our civilization token or tile for the village or for the plains. This is where we might be able to find a village. And then we also have the unbroken lands, the meadows, the twisted steppe, the flatlands, and the grassy plains. So now that's everything there with our various terrain packs. Okay, now let's take a look at our new lineages and our new classes. So there are 2 new lineages. We have half-orcs and half-elves. So your half-orc, of course, starts with a strength cube, so they are better at being strong and attacking. They start with a health, which is nice. And so we do have male and female versions of the two half orcs. And then we have 4 different versions of the half elf and also male and female. The half elf, of course, starts with a magic cube. They don't start with any additional health. And they can choose, since they are half human, half elf, they get to choose to either do the elf bonus or the human bonus. The half orc is really good in the mountains, and so they don't take the movement penalty when they are moving through the mountains. So those are your 2 new lineages. But then we have a whole bunch of new classes to play as. So there are a lot of different combinations now. So we have a paladin, a trickster, the soulless, the rune sword, the ranger, the magician, the executioner, the black knight, the battle mage, the bard, assassin, and a witch. And of course, each one of these is double-sided with a different loadout of gear. So your one paladin, if you want to play this paladin, you might start with your plate armor, your great sword, and 1 spell. Or this paladin starts with an iron helm, a shield, and a longsword, and 1 spell. And so each one of these will also add to your social statuses, will add to your health, will add to your slots where you can be speedy. You can take fast attacks or fast maneuver. They will also add cubes for your speed cubes, your action cubes, your attack cubes, and also any additional magic cubes that you might find for your magic characters. And then let's take a look at each one of these and read what they do. So the paladin, here is the paladin. Paladins are very honorable in all of their dealings. Paladins earn an additional legendary point for each title they earn. So that's one thing we didn't take a look at are the new title cards. So titles are one of the ways that you can gain victory points in Dragon's Down, where you can go to the civilizations associated with each title card and do whatever it says to earn your legendary points. And so as a paladin, you can earn more legendary points by focusing on gaining these titles. And the titles are double-sided to add to variety. So now we have, I think there's 1 title card for each terrain pack. So now we have 5 different title cards. Okay, so they're good at getting titles. We have the trickster. The trickster is often underestimated because they are masters of role-playing and act like a buffoon. This gives the trickster an advantage in combat. When attacking, the trickster may change 1 hit die result from an equal sign to a hit symbol. So makes the tricksters can trick you in combat, and so they can come from behind in combat. Soulless, this is a really interesting character. The Soulless have a limited physical body more akin to a spirit than a living creature. Soulless may use all hidden paths in their normal form. So if you are a Soulless, you don't have to discover the hidden paths. You can just use them. That's super cool. The rune sword here, rune swords have spent a lifetime learning about artifacts and how to control them. Rune swords may use a blue magic cube on any color of the magic box. So they start with the blue cube. You can use that for any color of magic if you are the rune sword. The ranger. Rangers know the woods after spending years in the wilderness. When in woods clearings, rangers may re-roll 1 search die during each search location. So any of the green clearings, the rangers will be better at searching in those clearings. Searching for secret treasures, searching for secret treasure sites, I should say, and also searching for secret passages. Then we have the magician. Magicians know a little bit about many types of magic colors. Magicians may use any color of magic cube on the 2nd box of a spell card. Okay, it gives them a more opportunity to cast more spells. We have the executioner. The executioner is an intimidating opponent that causes others to think twice before acting. In the first round of combat, the attack speed of all natives targeting the executioner is -1. So the executioner would be really good if you want to play an outlaw and you want to go in and just butcher the natives. That will give you an opportunity to do so more easily. We have the Black Knight here. The Black Knight is feared. The Black Knight is greatly feared veteran of many wars, causing negotiations to go a little bit easier for others. The Black Knight may re-roll 1 haggle die once per trade action. Very cool. You can intimidate the vendors to giving you better deals. The Battle Mage. The Battle Mage has honed the combination of magic and martial skills into 1 discipline. The Battle Mage may play 1 purple magic cube as if it is a red might cube. So the battle mages can use 1 purple cube for a might cube. So they're good at martial skills and magical skills. Okay, then we have, let's see, the bard here. Bards are entertainers and minstrels in addition to being heroic. If the bard is in a civilization location, so that would be one of the places where you have your natives, at the end of a combat phase, they roll 1 mission die and receive the reward. So if the bards are in civilization tiles and they can roll the mission die, so they can gain your fame points and gold. That's pretty cool. The assassin. The assassin is skilled at stalking their target. Assassins may ambush with melee weapons, after which the assassin becomes unhidden. So usually when you are hidden, you can only attack with a ranged weapon or a spell, but the assassin can be hidden and then jump out and attack with a melee weapon. And then finally here we have the witch. And the witch is quite complicated. So the witch is a purveyor of arcane magic and has an imp familiar which does the witch's bidding. The imp is physically linked to the witch and shares all that it learns with the witch. When playing the witch, also take the 2 imp familiar tokens. And let's see, the imp familiar tokens. Those must be these tokens here. So we also have all of our targeting tokens for the various new classes and all of our class chits here to control them. When the imp's turn order token is selected, the witch takes actions for the imp only using the imp's hero counter. Interesting. The imp follows the same rules as any other hero. The imp may only move, explore, and search. The imp does not fly. When the imp moves onto a map tile, place a wilderness token or civilization tokens in the tile face down. The witch may not look at the tokens. When searching, the imp may only search for a single wilderness or civilization token. The imp may not search for treasure. Wow, that's really interesting. Quite a bit of rules. That is by far the most complex class I have seen thus far in the game. Very interesting. I don't know. It seems like a lot to do. I don't know how well that would work, but I do know that with 12 new classes, we have so much variety in how to assemble our character now in this game. And then finally, speaking of variety, we do have some more treasure here. So we have more deep treasure, more regular treasure, more items, and more missions. So the items are actually the same. I believe every item that you get in the expansion is the same. This just adds a full complement of items for playing up to 6 players. So I don't know if any of these are new. I don't think they are. So I will probably not shuffle these in to my standard deck. If any of these are new, I'll just shuffle in the new things. But I don't think any of these are new. What are new are all the new missions. So there are a handful of missions for each of the new terrain packs. We have our missions here for the plains. These are the side quests that we can go on to earn more gold, more legendary points, more fame points. We have Betrayer, Evil Minion, Clothing, Illegal Goods, Sale Goods, Surveyor, Centaur Scourge, and Wolf Butcher. And then in our swamps, we have the following side quests. We have the Snake Grinder, the Lizard Ruin, the Swamper, the Message, Artifacts, Vile Assassin, and Cruel Kidnapper. And then for our treasure, we have a whole bunch of new treasure. We have the Artificer's Concoction, Brogans of the Birds. These are boots that allow you to fly. Different ways to enchant treasure. So you can take this enchanted treasure and then you would draw a new treasure and that treasure would add a magical cube to your character. Super cool. We have the Explorer's Boots that you can, I believe that means you can use any of the various secret passages, secret routes without having to search for them. Grommel's treasure, Grommel's Talisman, the Guard Charm, the Igneous Flame, the Peace Pendant, the Potion of Energy. So all kinds of new regular treasure. And then we also have a small assortment of deep treasure. We have the Armageddon Hammer, super powerful, just blunt, unga bunga weapon. I love that. The Clodpole Club, the Cursed Axe, the Dancing Sword automatically adds a speed cube, super cool. The Foci of the Spellcaster, the Hand of the Lich, the Helm of True Sight, the Jeweled Thieves Skull. You can just sell that for 31. That's great. The Mace of Absolution. The Saber of the Fencer has a place where you can add a brown cube there. So again, finesse weapons that you can spend to go faster on your attack or maneuverability. The Sin Sword, the Staff of Souls, the Staff of the Magi, the Sword of Torment, and the Vein Blade, which you have to have a charisma of 3 or more to use the Vein Blade. Super cool. Lots of really, really interesting treasure and deep treasure. And that is basically it. You will get a very, very slim 2-page basic rule book here. Basically, it just details what your new powers are for your lineage and your classes. You also have for your new treasure sites, because there are the advanced sides. So we have side 1 and then side 2. Side 2 will damage you if you don't have skeleton keys. You have to have the keys in order to unlock the treasure chest in the various locations. And on the swamps here, we also have a couple of different advanced sites. So you'll get your rules on how those are different, your rules on the various monsters, and then your treasure manifest that goes into all of the details for the new, more complex treasures in the game. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to get everything mixed together. I do need to think of a storage solution as well, because I do want to get all of this stuff into the base game box, which won't be a problem. I'll have to get rid of the insert, of course, but that won't be a problem at all. But I haven't gotten any of my storage boxes that I've ordered yet. So, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about a scenario that I'm developing, and then maybe we'll do some gameplay examples. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so now we will do a little bit of brainstorming. I'm coming up with an idea for a solo scenario in Dragon's Down, and this scenario is for a rogue. And so I am going to play as a halfling rogue. The halfling rogue is a very fast character, and the halfling's ability will allow me to hide easier, and the rogue's ability will allow me to evade combat easier, because I have a feeling that I won't be doing a lot of combat in this scenario. So in this scenario, I am playing a kind of a little story that the rogue has had something stolen from them by the bandits. So thieves, backstabbing thieves. And yeah, that's not good. So the rogue wants to get their item back. And the item I've chosen, just kind of randomly, but I thought of a ring. So the bandits have stolen the Ring of Truth from the halfling rogue. I've decided to play with the swamps and the plains. And to win this scenario, I need to retrieve my ring. I need to kill the bandit leader and end the game with at least 10 victory points. I think that sounds like some manageable goals here for a scenario. So the first thing I would want to do is randomize where the ring will be found, and it will be found in one of the 2 different bandit locations, because the bandits can kind of hop around between the hideout and the wicked wagons. And so I'm going to build my treasure pools now. So the hideout has 2 deep treasures. So I'll take 2 deep treasures and 4 treasures. One of the treasures is the ring. And so I will draw 3 more treasures here, and we will give those a shuffle. And then the wrecked wagon also has 2 treasures, so I'll add 2 more treasures to our treasure pile. So now we don't know where the ring is. So we'll deal out 4 treasures to the hideout, so the ring could be here, or the ring could be in the wrecked wagons. And then the hideout also has 2 deep treasures that we might be able to find. Now, to find the bandit leader, I'm going to say that once I have found either the wrecked wagons or the hideout, I have to make a successful search action, rolling 2 spyglasses in a day, to locate the bandit leader. And so if I go to the hideout and I fail on searching for the bandit leader, then the bandit leader cannot be there that day. And so I would have to repeat that process, or maybe go find the wrecked wagons and see if the bandit leader is there. I don't need to kill any of the other bandits. They might attack me, I don't know. but I do need to make sure that I've killed the leader, I've retrieved my ring, and I have 10 victory points from other side quests or things to do. So that's kind of how I'm going to set up the scenario. I think that sounds interesting to me, a little bit different, but this game has a wealth of opportunities, just a huge number of different ways to create your own stories and scenarios. I think the best way to describe Dragon's Down is there are some games that tell good stories, but Dragon's Down is a game that creates good stories, and it creates the stories in the little moments that we have while playing the game. Let's take a look at our rogue here. So we have two different two different outfits here. We can have the leather helm, leathers, short sword, and 15 gold. Or we can have a buckler, a hand axe, a dagger, or 20 gold. I think I'm going to choose this one. So I'm going to find my starting equipment here in the items deck. So we need a leather helm, leathers, and a short sword. Okay, leather helm, leathers, and short sword. There's our leathers. There's our leather helm. And we need to find our short sword. There's our long sword, staff, short sword. Okay, so the short sword isn't bad. That's a pretty good rogue weapon. The rogue only has 1 strength cube, so they aren't a great fighter. However, this short sword does pretty good there, because the bandit leader only has 2 health, but they are armored, so they will block that 1 slashing damage from the sword. The bandit assassin only has 1 health and no armor. The bandit executioner is similar to the leader. They have 2 health and 1 armor. And the bandit cutthroat only has 1 health. Okay, so I will go ahead and equip these to my card. The short sword is a one-handed weapon. I'll put that down there. And then the leather helm and the leathers. So the leather helm will take 1 point of damage before it's destroyed. Leathers can absorb 1 point before it's destroyed. Both of those will prevent a slash. And I need to have at least 1 healthy strength cube or might cube in order to wear these. And for our halfling rogue, man, they are so fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 speed cubes and 1 might cube. So let me take out my cubes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 red cube for my might. And then I will take 4 of the pink cubes in order to keep track of our actions. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm really looking forward to developing a good storage situation for all of this, or storage solution, I should say. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to move our character off screen just a little bit. I'll keep this up there so we can see the actions. I will take our sinister swamps and our perilous plains and place those kind of just right here for now. Here we have our civilization tokens, so we will mix those up into a single pile so we don't know what's what. We will take our monolith, our hideout, and our grotto. So those are all of our sites, and we will mix those up so we don't know what's what. I have already shuffled my wilderness tokens for the sinister swamps and my wilderness tokens for the perilous plains. We have our outpost here. I think we'll start in the village. So the thief will start in the village. And so we will play a exploration map here where we are having to move out from the village and exploring. So I will take my village tile, set that in the middle. I will take the rest of my tiles here and shuffle them, making sure to turn left, up and down, different sides. I did want to, I'm going to keep this on easy mode, so I am going to use side 1 of our of our terrain setups there. I think I had shown side 2 earlier, but I'm going to use side 1 so they don't have any of the special traps, just to keep things simple. All right, so there is that. Okay, so here's our village. This is where we're starting. Let me find my rogue token here. Let's see, rogue. There's my rogue. And just in case I need it, our targeting token. So there's my targeting token. We won't need any of these other hero class tokens, so I can move those. One really bad thing is the rogue starts with 1 health. Man, if I sneeze wrong, I am dead. This could be very, very, this could go very poorly. So here are the different ways that we can earn victory points from titles. So from the villagers, that's where we're starting here in the plains. Price of 40 gold proof. All the bandits must be dead. Oh, so if I kill the bandits, I get 2 victory points. Hey, that's kind of cool. Maybe this is a village of thieves. So this is a thieves village, and the bandits have moved into the realm, and they're trying to muscle in on our territory. And so the village has elected me, the thief, Cragor, of course, Cragor the thief. They've elected me to go out and retrieve the village's Ring of Truth, which we use as, we use this Ring of Truth when we kidnap somebody. We put the Ring of Truth on them, and we interrogate them, and so we can ask them, where has their civilization held, where is their civilization hiding the gold? That's what I'm trying to say. Where are they hiding the gold? And that Ring of Truth forces them to tell us the truth. And so we need to get that back because the bandits they're abusing it. Maybe we are thieves with a heart of gold, or maybe not. Maybe we are just really bad thieves. And so we have our villages there, and then our wardens of the barrens, the swamp. We want to find the hideout. Okay, so the hideout, that's a place where the bandits might be. So, or the lost battalion. And so if we are the first to find that, and we will be if we find it because we're playing single player, we will get some victory points there. So those are 2 different ways to get some victory points. Okay, let me put my cubes down here off camera. Take my action cubes here. We don't need that. Let me continue to shuffle these up a little bit more. And so we will draw from the bottom as we explore out, looking for our bandits, looking for our various, our ring, and trying to level up a little bit and maybe take on some additional side quests so we can get a few more victory points. Now, one thing we do need to do is we do need to set up our village. So let's see where our village is located. This is where we're going to start on spot number 2. So there's our village, spot number 2. We have a whole bunch of villagers. So normally you would put your villagers out on the map, but there really isn't a way to interact with them, and I'm not going to attack them. So I am just going to keep my villagers off the map so it doesn't get cluttered up for now. We don't really need them right now. We do want to draw 2 random civilization tokens to see what is in our village. I will take those 2. And so we have the vendor and we have the smuggler. Nice. Okay, that makes sense. So the vendor and the smuggler. The vendor has 3 treasures, 4 items, and 2 missions. And the smuggler has 5 treasures, 3 items, and 2 missions. So I can take a trade action at the beginning of the game to see what they might have, what they are holding. Maybe we'll do that. We might be able to find a cool weapon that can help our thief out a little bit more. I'm not sure, but let's see here. Okay, so this is day 1 of Cragor the Thieves' attempt to find the bandits. And so we have 4 actions. Here's all the actions we can take. Of course, we can alert, we can sneak or make noise, we can move, search, loot, learn, rest, trade, enchant, and explore. Explore is when you are using the exploration mode of the game where you are revealing tiles as you go. So let's see what our friend, the vendor, has. The vendor. So I will do a trade action with the vendor so I can look at what they have. So we get 3 treasures. So 1, 2, 3 different treasures. We have 4 items. 2, 3, 4. And here is our deck of missions, our side quests that I have set up. And these include all of the missions from the Perilous Plains and the Sinister Swamps. All right, so they have 2 different missions. So now we can look at these, we can buy one, or we can take a mission. So that's what we can do with the trade action. We have an enchanted treasure. All right, so I would draw another treasure and be able to buy it. A cursed treasure. We have a time stone, a battle axe, a short sword, chainmail, and a longbow. And then here we have our lizard ruined and our message. So kill the lizard folk shaman. That will give us 2 victory points. Complete the mission at the outpost and discard 1 outlaw token. If only using the sinister swamps, we are not. Discard this and replace the mission. Complete this mission in the next alphabetical civilization. So there's only 2 different areas. So I am in the plains now. So this would have to be completed at the outpost in the swamps. Complete this even if that location is not yet on. So yeah, so I need to take a message to them. That gives me 0 points. So that's not going to be very helpful. Might want to take the lizard ruin. I also started with 15 gold. That's right. So let me take my 15 gold here. We have, let's see, 5, 10, 15. Okay, 15 gold. So we don't know what the enchanted treasure is. I would draw another treasure to see what it is, and then I could buy it. Same with the cursed treasure. It would be another treasure, but I would have to roll up a curse. And the curses, there are different curses that you can be afflicted with. I don't think I want to buy a cursed treasure. The time stone. I'm not sure what the time stone does. Oh yeah, so I believe this means that if my speed is equal to my maneuver, or if the speed is equal to the maneuver, then hits also count. I don't need to roll the special hit. So it allows me to spend speed cubes more efficiently in combat. The battle axe doesn't really help me because I'm pretty weak. I already have a short sword. The longbow might be good, but that would cost 3 times. It would cost 15. I do have 15 gold. We are at the vendor, and the vendor does respect charisma. My charisma is only 1, so the chances of me haggling with that is pretty low. You know, I think I am actually going to buy this longbow, because a longbow, a ranged weapon you can use from being hidden, and you can ambush, and that might help us kill the bandit leader. So I'm going to discard 15 gold in order to buy the longbow. I'm going to put that face down in my backpack, because right now I think I'm pretty happy with my short sword. And so the vendor has all of that stuff left. We'll add that to the card over here. So that was our first action. We stopped by the vendor before our way out. Let's go ahead and take an explore action. So take an explore action. I'm going to explore from this path here. So I'll draw from the bottom, and I can put it in any direction and any side, but all the paths have to line up. So this is a swamp tile. This is the putrid waters. I could come across giant serpents and adult dragons here. And let's see here. The swamp tiles, the yellows, those cost 2 additional points to move into. Green, the forest, does not. So I'm going to put that like this there. And with that action, I can also move into that tile. So reveal, place a map tile, optionally move into the place tile. So that would also be a move action. And then you have to be able to spend any additional points to move. And because we moved into a swamp, I'm going to draw a swamp wilderness token to see what we find in this swamp. And hey, we find a site. Maybe the hideout is right here. So here's our sites. Let's mix those up. Keep ourselves honest. And what did we find? We found the grotto. Okay, so the grotto is at number 6 here. So there's the grotto. Now, of course, we still need to find that grotto. And the grotto is actually protected by a hydra. And there is going to be 2 deep treasures and 6 treasures there. That might be enticing for the thief, but I think what we'll do just to play it safe is I will go on sneak just in case monsters come out into this swamp. Okay, so let's roll up our monsters now. We'll take our wandering monster dice and our local dice. And let's see what we find. Let's roll our wandering monster dice. So mountains, so we're not in the mountains. We don't need to worry about that. And our local, we have the skull icon, and we don't have anything. So there are no monsters, so we don't need to worry about any kind of evasion or combat or anything. It is the next day. Let's clear off our tokens there. And let's think about what we're going to do. I think the thief is getting a little distracted by the rumor that he heard that there is this treasure grotto. And so I am going to go into this swamp and search for the grotto. So I will take a move action. We'll go 1. I will take another move action to move into the swamp, which actually costs 2. And from here, I'm going to sneak again because the thief really does need to be sneaky. I won't be able to survive very much combat. Okay, so let's roll for our monsters again. And we have a cave. And okay, and nope. So no monsters again. We rolled our cave and our skull symbol or our carrion symbol. I can't remember what that's called. We have noise, we have orcs, we have stench. So different ways for the monsters to come out. And if we had this is the treasure site. So then the treasure guardian would come out, and that would be the Hydra at the grotto, the swamp Hydra. Okay, so we don't have anything to do during combat. I'm not casting any spells or anything, nothing to prepare for the next day. So now it is day 3. And then I should be keeping track of all of these days on our journal, writing a little story about what Cragor is doing, how they are traversing the land, what they are looking for, what they're exploring for, and so on. But now I am in this swamp clearing, and I have 4 actions to search for the vault or to search for the grotto. I've heard it's in this clearing somewhere. You know, maybe it's overgrown. The swamp is all overgrown. It's half submerged in water. I don't know where the exact entrance to this grotto is. So I'm going to take an action and do a search action. So I need to find 2 spyglasses to find this grotto, and no spyglasses. I will try that again. And 1 spyglass. Okay, so I can try that again, and I don't have to roll that one. I only have to re-roll the miss. And no. Okay, so this was a full day searching for this grotto, and it didn't really help. Should I? I'm going to chance it. I'm going to go for another search action. And yes, I found the grotto. So we have found the grotto. I would circle that on my adventure sheet. I should have taken those out. Where is that? Here it is. So I could circle that we have found the grotto. That will give us 1 victory point, so 1 legend point, and 5 fame points. And remember, when you retire, I think you can trade 10 of the fame points for 1 victory point, for 1 legendary point. So we've found the grotto, but now there's a really good chance that I will get attacked because there are 3 opportunities: the guardian, the giant serpents, and the adult dragons. And I am not hidden, so I'm not sneaking. So this is a little dangerous here. We find, the swamps, and so that's pretty bad. So we have adult dragons are coming in, 1 adult dragon and 1 giant serpent. So not too bad. So let's take our giant serpent, and let me find my adult dragons. So this could very well be the end of Cragor right here, just because I didn't sneak. I was greedy. So yeah, you could die on the second tile. So we have a giant serpent and an adult dragon. The adult dragon, very powerful there. The giant serpent, man, hits for 4. Yeah, poor Cragor could end up being killed here. Let's see. 0, 2. So 0 attack speed, a 2 maneuverability speed. So they're pretty slow. A 1 attack speed and a 3 maneuver speed. On their other side here, they will actually only attack for 2 plus a slash, and a 2 and a 1. And the adult dragon will do fireball. So, okay. Actually, these are probably pretty easy to run from. Yeah, actually, I can very easily run. The halfling rogue is really fast. These guys are both pretty slow with a maneuver of 2, and a slow speed. So I could very easily run from both of these guys. So I'm not too worried about it. I am worried about getting into the combat though. So let's see if I am hidden. Because as a reaction, you can try to hide. Even if you're not sneaking, you roll both of the hide dice, the monster dice, and you need to roll 2 blanks to stay hidden. If you're sneaking, you can ignore 1 bad result. However, as the halfling rogue, I get to re-roll one of these, so I have a slightly better chance to stay hidden or to hide. So I found the grotto. I'm kind of swimming around these swamps. I found the entrance. I went down, and I discovered that right at the entrance is a giant serpent, an adult dragon. Maybe they are locked in combat or something, and I've come across them, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to hide. Let's see if I hide. And oh yes, I do. So I am hidden. Very nice. I will place one of these on my character sheet here to show that I'm hidden. So I am swimming very quietly through the grotto. There's a giant serpent and an adult dragon on the shore there. Maybe they think they hear something, but they don't know. So now it is the next turn. And so I am in this clearing with these monsters. I get one action before they try to block me, before they try to attack me. The best option to take would be to sneak. So my first action is going to be to sneak. Now I have to see if they find me. And because I was sneaky, I can ignore that bad result. So I am sneaking. So I am actually in this grotto now. They don't know where I am. I could attack them from ambush, but I don't want to attack them. I just want to do some looting. So let's go to our grotto. We get 2 deep treasures and 6 regular treasures. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give those a shuffle. Okay, and then we also have 2 deep treasures. So we'll put the 2 deep treasures on top. So this is our treasure deck for the grotto. And I am now going to take a loot action. So I will roll my loot dice. And I am looking for, I have to take the highest number, or if I roll 2 grabby hands, then that's really good. Okay, so a 2 and a 4. So the worst is a 4. So I take my treasure deck and now I count down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see what I have found. The Tinkerer's Timepiece. 2 actions? It's a 1-use thing, so I can use this to take 2 additional actions. That is pretty good. So I will go ahead and put that in my miscellaneous section there. Okay, so I'm still hidden. I'd remained hidden. Looting does not negate your hiding. I'm going to take another loot action. And a grabby hand and a 3. So I go 3 down. I really want a 1 or a 2 so I can get this deep treasure. But 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what do we find here? The Potion of Relief. I can use this potion 1 time in order to cure a curse. Okay, maybe I could go get that cursed treasure back at the village and then negate the effects of that curse. And I'm still hidden, so I don't really need to worry about things right now. I will go ahead and do, I could move out just in case. Let's see here. Nope, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to do another loot action and a grabby hand and a 2. All right, so I do find that deep treasure. So 1, 2. And a bejeweled helm. Okay, that doesn't really help me too much. It's a little bit better. Yeah, it's quite a bit better, actually. I will swap that out for my leather helm. When you find new loot, you can immediately equip it and swap things out. So I'll move the leather helm back into my backpack. Okay, so I'm still hidden because I didn't move or I didn't ambush. And so I don't need to try to be hidden again. I do need to see if more monsters show up, though. So we have here, we have the carrion or the I'm not sure, the corpse pile we don't need to worry about, and the return. So the return, if there were any monsters on tiles without heroes, they would go back to their home. They would be removed from the game. Okay, so now I have 1 action. It's the next day. I have 1 action before these monsters try to block me again. I think I'm just going to move. I'm not going to continue to press my luck in this grotto. And so I will move out. And so I move out before they get to do anything, and we are good. So now I'm going to, that's a move action. I'm going to take another explore action. So explore. And here we have this tile here. I can do it on either side. Now, what's interesting is I was exploring here, And as you can see, it cannot be placed because it doesn't match up with this particular path there on either side. So this is unusable. So that action was forfeit. Okay, so I have two more actions. I will try to explore again. And here we found the outpost right next door to the village. And this can be played. So let's go ahead and put that like so. Now, I'm not sure, I'm a little confused about on the explore action if your movement is considered part of that explore action or if it takes an additional action. Maybe somebody can clarify that for me because it says explore, reveal and place a map tile, optionally move into the placed tile. That sounds like it's part of the same action, but if it's a mountain, you have to pay for the additional movement. So because this is a plains, I believe I can actually, or that is the swamps. Let's see, that's a sinister swamp, but that's not a swamp space. So I believe I can actually move in there. I'm not sure. And then for my last thing, I will take a sneak action. Actually, we don't need to sneak really because this is the outpost and no monsters can come on here, but monsters can move. But because we moved into the outpost, actually, we did find the outpost. So let's see where the outpost is. The outpost is in clearing 2, where I am. So I come into the outpost. The outpost has a artificer and an empty. Okay, so that's where we can interact with the outpost. The outpost would also have these guys here. The council leader, the bodyguard, the warden, a warden leader, and a warden 3. So all of these guys would be hanging out at the outpost. And let's see here. So let's see if these monsters go home. We'll roll at the end of the day. We will roll. And if I rolled that arrow, they would leave, but they don't. So they're out there. So that's kind of how I would continue to play. Again, looking for those bandits, looking for my ring, sneaking around, trying to loot the sites to find my ring so I know where it is. And then also when I find those sites, searching for the bandit leader by taking a search action. And so this was just kind of a quick brainstorming session, coming up with a way to very easily make your own scenarios in Dragon's Down. Maybe I'll write this up and post it to the Dungeon Dive patron. We'll see. I'm not sure how many Dungeon Dive patrons are actually playing this game. I know there was some interest on the Facebook group, but I haven't measured the interest yet. But I am continuing to be absolutely blown away by the way this game plays, the way it tells stories, the way it creates stories, I should say, and just all of the agency, the player agency that I feel like I have in this game is much greater than in a lot of games. I really do feel like I am in control of my hero's individual actions in this game, and it makes me feel super engaged. This is a game that engages me on a level that I am often not engaged in. And yeah, I love it. I love Dragon's Down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Desolation expansion and also this kind of brainstorming session on how to come up with a scenario. And we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.